about money mindset, I've been doing a lot of work, and I said that to you the last time. A lot of work around money mindset, especially looking at men, looking at relationships, and now I can look at people's behaviors and see whether they're coming from a positive, a poverty mindset,
Mm.
the way they think, the thought processes, the way they make decisions. I'm able to see and make decisions, like, what, are you a conservative? Are you a risk taker? Are you a hoarder?
Hmm.
You know, and really understand sometimes your behaviors, the reason why you do this is because of that. And so as you talk to them about their story, what is your money story? You're really able to tie it. But sometimes people don't even know their money story.
Yeah.
They just know exactly how were you raised.
Are you ready for the
Welcome back to the studio here on Island Money 365. I have the wonderful, wonderful Dr. Jackie Evans Phillips. Hi, Dr. Jackie.
Hi, hi, hi.
It's
That's
so good to
me.
have you here with
Thank
me.
you.
And you know what? I should mention, Dr. Jackie, I am going to mention it, that, my husband always say, because his mother always tell him sayings, right? Always say, good friends are better than pocket money. And the
Amen.
reason for that, and I say that is because, you were supposed to be my first guest on my podcast, right? And we did our recording. We did at the center because I was their guinea pig. They were my guinea pig. It was their first, thing to try to help entrepreneurs in the studio. And it didn't come out so well. And then you came on here and we try again. So this is your third time around. So I had to get new questions, make it more fresh. But this is why they say it's good to have good friends, because they're always there to help you and step in whenever you need them. Because most people be like, girl, you don't have this stuff together. But no, after
Listen,
my
we
first
all
season, and we're going to be
trying.
in our second season, I got it, Dr. Jackie.
We all trying. We actually have
So you'll
seasons.
be the
Very good.
first. I'm good. Go ahead, Dr. Jackie.
Good. You have seasons. That's a good sign.
Yes. So you're going to be the first one in the second season.
Oh, really? Oh, God. Good luck.
Okay, so let's give you Dr. Jackie's bio, okay? And she does a lot more than this, but let's just condense it a little bit. You are doing a world of good out there. Dr. Jackie Evan Phillips is a dedicated advocate for breaking generational trauma and empowering individuals to become change makers. With over 30 years of experience in education, human services, counseling, and youth development, Dr. Jackie holds a Doctor of Education and a Master's in Clinical Psychology. Through her platform, the Life Changer Center and Dream Big College, she provides therapy, life coaching, and empowerment workshops, helping individuals heal and grow. Dr. Jackie is also a prolific author who, with over 10 books published, 10 published books, y'all, including 3 bestsellers. And she's also the president of the West Indian Foundation. Woo, 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 woo. West Indies, double I.
Yeah. Jesus.
What are you doing over there anyway at the West Indian Foundation?
So basically, with the philanthropic and the fundraising, the money component, in really empowering our West Indian community in the Greater Hartford area and Greater Hartford area, but not only that, but all the residents of the Greater Hartford community. Because when we look at the West Indian population in the Greater Hartford area, I could say that every family has some type of affiliation or somebody who's West Indian in their family. So we had to serve, we had to empower, we had to really develop economic sustainability, which is part of our conversation today. Develop economic sustainability for our families, um, health and wellness for our families, youth development, and cultural preservation. So these are our goals and our 4 pillars, ready to make a difference as we make a difference in the economic development of the Greater Hartford
I
community.
love it. 'Cause when we first migrated, my mom, I mean, my mom, sister, and I, we were sleeping in one in a cousin house
It's everybody's
in one
story.
bed together trying to transition. I didn't know any of these organizations exist. So first of all, do you think a lot of us immigrants know about you guys? Because I didn't know that this was in the 90s though, so I didn't know organizations like this exist to help us out. So a lot of us are struggling on our own when it doesn't seem like we have to.
Exactly, exactly. And so, as we continue building out our platform, as we continue really working on our communication and our promotion, is really trying to make some waves. We've been around for almost 48 years.
Really?
Yes. And I mean, you know, with my presidency and my tenure, I really want to start thinking about economic sustainabilities because, our forefathers, maybe when the foundation started, was working on helping us get settled, helping us get homes, more migration. But now our families are settled. We are into like 3 generations deep in the Greater Hartford community. So let's think about how can we, one, help our youth develop. So we do every year we do a scholarship. So that's definitely something that we do around youth development. Also, too, health and wellness is key for us. And the part around economic sustainability is that I'm looking at it in several different components in terms of small businesses. A lot of our West Indians are small businesses. So how can we help them sustain their businesses, grow to capacity? And also, too, let's look at the families. How can we support and help the families sustain and develop and grow?
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see what you do. I know you're doing amazing. Everything you put your hands on, honestly, you're
I
just blessed and
try.
highly favored. Anything you put your hands on, just grow,
It's a journey,
just
though.
grow
It's
and
a process.
blossom.
It's a journey and a process. And I just ask for prayers. We're also looking for friends of the foundation, and these are individuals who are ready to make a difference and create impact. And I'm ready to put them into work into our communities. So one of the things that we're going to be doing, anyone who's ready to make a difference and be part of the foundation, they can become a friend of the foundation right now and work in any of our established community committees.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So let's get into the other stuff that you're doing.
My life,
Right. So
please.
the long list, right? Can you share more about your mission to empower individuals to break generational trauma and to become change makers?
So life is full of transitions, right? And one of the programs I'm launching this, I'm a life coach. I consider myself a life coach, even though I do mental health therapy. But life coaching is my passion, and really helping individuals go through transitions. Because life is full of transition. Migrating to America is a transition, right? But in between those spaces, there are transitions, and so I'm allowing people to know that they have the permission to reset. And when we talk about reset, we're talking about reset to help them start to live after a divorce, after going filing for bankruptcy, after death. That you have the ability and give yourself the permission to reset, to live, permission to reset, to love, and permission to reset, to laugh. Because a lot of our folks carry a lot of emotional handcuffs and baggages, and with the ability, the just knowing that you can reset to leave, reset to laugh. I think it will allow you to blossom and explode. But before we do that, I take them on a soul detox.
Oh my gosh.
I
It
take
sounds
them
like
on a
out of body experience.
Listen. We do body detoxes, but we don't see the value of the soul in the process. We don't see the power of our soul in our process. Because in the soul is where trauma resides. And what keeps you from self-care, what keeps you from family care, what keeps you from work-life balance and joy is your trauma.
Mm,
I rest my case.
so true. So true.
So
So so what inspired you to create Life Changer? I know, you're very passionate about this line of work. We have spoken several times. So what inspired you to create the Life Changer Center and the Dream Big College, and how have these platforms impacted the community you served?
so I think we're all here on a purpose. We're all here on assignment, and in order for us to move into a season or stage or to fulfill our mission and assignment on Earth, we have to become change makers. And when we look at change makers, we look at change makers in three different stages. Change makers within ourselves. In order for me to impact the people around me, I have to do my own healing journey. And that's a continuous process. And I think we all are required to do our own healing journey because you know what? Our lives were not perfect and our life is still not perfect. But it's that continuous improvement, that continuous self care, is that continuous um, reflection. I've learned a new word, is that sacred reset,
Mm.
the sacred stillness we have to take. We have to take sacred moments of stillness. You don't get me
Mm.
pre um change makers within our families, we want to make differences. Our parents were not the best. Sometimes they were not perfect, but you know what? We know better. We do better right now. And as we do better, we want to make sure that you know what? We help our children heal as well, and we help our children make positive decisions. And then, as when we have the capacity to extend beyond our families, then we could say, like you're doing, creating this podcast, you're creating impact, you're helping people with their money, to use their money wisely. And I think that's impact. So really helping people move along that progression, I think is powerful.
Hmm.
And
That's
so helping
true.
them become change makers. So that's where the whole change maker philosophy came from. Um, and the Dream Big, which is my nonprofit, it started when I helped individuals become change makers and writing their stories. And I realized a lot of our pain and trauma started in many people in their youth. So if we can help our young people to start the courageous conversations about how they can use their voices, because what happens is that when we talk about trauma also impairs, affects our voice.
Mm.
We lose the power of our voice. So my job is to help them discover the power of their voices as they move through into becoming productive citizens.
That is so true. You're right. You're right. A lot of us, back in the day, we were like a child is seen and not heard, right? And we don't
Mhm.
realize it's cultural. We're talking about respect, and we're very big on respecting our culture, but also you might be also stifling that child because something might be going on, and they don't not now they're scared to come to you.
Exactly. And also too, whether you say it or not, but they may start carrying guilt, especially if we look at children and molestation, which is rampant in our culture. Especially it happens in teenage. Sometimes it starts really young. And what happens is that the child may become deviant or may go silent inwards. What happens? They lose their voice
Yeah.
and they carry that
So
guilt.
I know, because as I said, you and I have talked a lot,
Mhm.
and you always talk about this topic and molestation. Is it really big in the immigrant population, immigrant community? And do you have any numbers around that or any kind of context around it?
I am actually, I mean, it's just amazing. I am making a bold statistical what's the word, analysis. One out of every three women have been molested.
Oh my gosh!
That high.
And they don't talk about it, right? It just keep.
And
Mhm.
and men,
Yes, men.
and men, and men. But it's higher in women than men.
Hmm.
It's very high. I mean, you're in a room, and I mean, and also, no, we're not only talking about molestation. We're also talking about acts of sexual violence. So acts of sexual violence actually happen to, so that's something that. But what it does, you lose your voice. It
Yeah.
affects your relationship. And so, if we could have conversations, courageous conversations now of healing at this stage, especially for our young people, letting them know that you are still worthy,
Yeah.
you know?
And something people should think of. I know we teach our kids change your danger, but most of the
Mhm.
time it's in the family because I have a circle of
In
friends
the
and
household.
we call it being touched, but I will say it was less than 1 in 3.
Mhm.
Talking about it. We had these conversations how family members touched them, and when they reported it to their parents, they were told, hushed. Don't spread your laundry abroad. Don't let anybody else out of the house or our family knows it. Don't bring shame to the family. So I don't know if it's the same now. This was, as I said, we're a different generation for a generation now. And I think people are more aware of the trauma it can cause on kids, and it's not as hush hush maybe as it used to be back then. I don't know. You're in the area. What do you think?
It's still the same way with teens and in the young people. And sometimes it doesn't have to be an opposite sex person. It can be the same gender,
Mm,
same gender,
mm,
you know, and even for men too, it could be a babysitter,
mm-hmm.
you know. So sometimes we'd always think it's that stepfather or something, or the uncle, the brother. Yes, it can be, but also it could be somebody you bring into the house, somebody you trust with your child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's scary, but we just have to ask God for coverage of our children.
Yeah. So keeping along that same vein, what are some common signs of generational trauma and how can an individual begin to heal from it?
I mean, as you grow older, you realize that you know what, I have an outward personality and an inward personality. I am not happy all the time, and there are things, you know, that you notice that you've lost your voice. You know, you may be smiling, but yet there might be family baggage that you're still carrying. You know that not even talking about not even talking about molestation, rejection. You know, you could have been rejected, you know, or abandonment, or it could be even now, as you know, in your family or in siblings. You know, my mother never really paid much attention to me, or I was the black sheep of the family, you know, or just things that were never resolved in a family. So a lot of those things you may be carrying, you know, and it still pains you to know that, you know what, I've moved away, I've relocated to the United States, and yet I feel alone. I feel like I don't have a good relationship with my mom or my dad or my sisters, you know, or just a lot of unresolved issues. And I think the key thing about it is that is getting to a space where, you know what, I am giving you the permission to live again. You have that permission to
Mm,
laugh again. You have that permission to find joy. So let's work on it, because in order for us to heal, we have to face those giants in the face,
mm,
because we don't look at it. And when you're able to look at it in the face and go through it, then it gets smaller. But whenever we put it in the closet, it just becomes that huge monster.
yeah.
So it's just pushing through it.
Yeah. How does the shadows? I always tell my kids, shadows can't hurt you. It's what you put on the shadows that hurts you.
Yeah,
And once you shed a light on it, you have to shrink. You know.
yeah. And so we talk about generational trauma, we talk about behaviors, we talk about coping skills, we talk about how, you know, maybe you've developed a negative coping skill based on that trauma. And then your children see that you do that, you know, and then what happens? They adopt it,
Mm, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, or you have no patience, you lose it at the very moment that they start screaming or whatever, because why? You have the because of the pain you may carry, you know.
Hmm.
So it's a matter of like when you become healthy, or you're able to raise a higher and better functioning family.
I like that. I
Hmm.
like that. So, can you talk about the importance of creating safe spaces for teens and how these spaces contribute to reducing anxiety and depression?
Yes, yes. I actually ran a group one time, and it is interesting um, for them to be in a place where there's no judgment, for them to be open and have conversations. It's also a safe spaces where somebody else can say, I've been through this myself, and they'll feel that they're not alone. So creating those safe spaces really causes them to feel safe, because at home they may be judged. At home they cannot share those things, you know. And so that starts the healing process. That really helps them to develop a deeper sense of self, to realize that I'm not an island, and also develop resiliency.
Mm, I like that. So, what strategies do you use to help young people develop resilience and a deeper sense of self? Do you have anything, or you just by talking, you think it create an environment? There's something specific or something you do, or
I mean,
what can parents
it's
do really?
One of the things I like is developing rituals.
Hmm.
Yes. Because we know as teenagers, a lot of teenagers become not isolated, but they like their spaces. They like their privacy. They like, but how can you stimulate or what's the word? I guess stimulate. I don't know if it's the word stimulate, but how can you trigger um, intentional opportunities where you and your child can engage in conversations. And sometimes it may not be at home, but it's a matter of, let's say, you have two children. On the second Saturday of the month, you take one son. On the third Saturday is the other son. So you give them their individual identity
Mm.
and also, too, their own time,
Yeah.
you know? And it's amazing as you spend more time together, the car conversations and the things, and then it becomes a safe space, it becomes a ritual, and then conversations will happen. Because
Yeah.
I just did that with my daughter. I could share that with you. My daughter was away, and she's in college and all that, and she's going off to college, and we decided to do a spa day. I mean, she's an adult now, and it was amazing. The conversation, the next stage conversations that we had, and I was even astonished. I was telling about some of the things that happen in West Indian communities and relationships, and I mean, it was so powerful. And I said, you know what, we gotta keep that up,
Yeah. I
and the
love that.
exchange, because sometimes I was like, are you dating, are you this, and it seems very nosy and prying, but just being in this spa environment, just driving, it shifted the mood, it brought everything down, and we're able to just flow. So no matter what age, building those intentional I guess opportunities, which doesn't appear to be threatening or nosy.
No fear, no fast, you fast.
I think a lot can be said, and you share your experiences. You're not as a parent like, oh,
I know, I know. Like we often do. No, I totally agree because before my second son was born, my first son and I, we used to go out to lunch. We used to have our monthly mother son lunch, right? And
yeah.
he asked me about this the other day, actually. I was like,
Are
oh,
you
I haven't done
serious?
that in, well, how's my second? My second son is 4 years old. I was like, I haven't done it in 4 years.
So, hint, hint.
But you know what we do? I did replace it with walks though. Saturday morning, we get up and we go for a very long walk because
Just the two of you
yeah, it's
guys.
just the two of us.
Okay.
And sometimes because we try to do it when the little one is asleep, he's still sleeping at 7 o'clock in the morning. So let's go for a walk. But then he caught on, so now he's getting up earlier.
So you need to say this is the first son. This this time belongs to
Yeah.
son, and this time belongs
Yeah,
to
so
that
Derek
son.
and I trying to figure out, my husband and I trying to figure out,
So
okay, we need to
swap
give
them.
them each their own space and own time
You
because
have
they want to
to.
talk. I
You have
mean,
to.
my first son Jameer, he talks and he tells, he just talks. What is about Pokemon? What is about math? He wants to be a mathematician. He just talks. So all I gotta do is just go and just
And these are things they look up to, and it's interesting too, because you know why? Those little things are things adults carry into the individuals carry into the adulthood. How you had never had no time for me. I never got the time. When the second child came, I felt abandoned.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
amazing.
I know. I don't want to damage my kids. I'm tired. I'm trying. Please.
Just continue showing
I
love.
gotta go pray on it. God, help me figure this out. I don't want to have
Listen,
damaged kids.
nobody's perfect. We
I
are
know.
all trying. Nobody is perfect. We are all trying. And you know what? It's just having those honest conversations. Say, I'm not perfect. I'm
Hmm.
just being the best mom I can be.
Yeah, no, I'm quick to say I'm sorry. If I find myself just being irritated for no reason, I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. Just give me a minute. And I'll
Yeah.
come back. Cause that response was overreacting. Let me. I'm first to acknowledge, and I think you need to. Our parents, I don't feel like ever did that. Never apologize or anything. 'Cause we mess up sometimes, and sometimes we assume things when it's not so, because what you see is not might not be what transpired. You just saw the tail end of it. So I totally get it. As I said, I'll work on it.
To add to your point, that's where I think self-care is important for us. As parents and as adults, we have to make sure we're able to refuel, retool, because when we're like full, and we go crazy and anything comes out. And sometimes
Exactly. So do
it
you,
feels
in our
like all of
community,
us.
you know, you hear people talking about self care and mental health.
Mhm.
In our community, it's like, no, you go to Jesus, right? If it's going to
Wow,
say, you
wow.
go to Jesus. So can you give them some word of encouragement? Say, look, you need to tell them something, Dr. Jackie, please.
So with that, the nice thing about God, our Father, is that He has blessed us with gifts and abilities. He's created the plumbers to help us with our water issues. He's created the electrician to use wisdom to give us power and light, right? And the thing about it, He's created mental health therapists, He's created life coaches, He's created pastors, He's created all those individuals with the knowledge and the gift to help us with our emotional health, you know and so one of the things that we have to do is to use the right resources. And so yes, God, you're gonna go to God, but God, sometimes some problems God said is that I've already given you the solution. Why are you coming back to me? You're coming back to me with the same problem. I've given you the solution, I've given you the business card, I've given you the people in your neighborhood to help you, and yet you keep coming back to me. Don't you trust me? It's like giving you the gifts of talents. Why are you hoarding this away? Why aren't you using it the right way? You
Amen.
know, look
Amen.
at it. No, but it's true.
Yeah.
And save complex problems and issues for God.
Mm-hmm.
Save, be in a place where you want to see miracles. When you want to see miracles and stuff like that, that's when you go to God. But other things, which is in our neighborhood, in our resources, He's given it right there for you to use.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What is the issue?
I agree. Let's
And
not be the men on the rooftop.
you're gonna go to Him and say, God, I couldn't get my talents and I couldn't get my purpose done because my mother said something about me. No, He's not gonna accept that.
Amen.
You had to heal yourself. You had the power and the ability to do that, and He's given you time to do that. So reset.
Thank you.
That's right.
I like that. I like that. So, Dr. Jackie, another
You
problem we
can
have.
repeat
Remember
it.
in the beginning, you talk about economic sustainability. So let's go there. Okay.
Yes.
Share your. What would you say your relationship with money is, and your journey with money? Share your journey with money for us.
So interestingly enough, I was thinking about my business journey, and let me see if I actually remembered it. And I said, you know what, that'd be a good conversation. And it'll be a conversation I would share with anybody who's starting a business. So when you start a business with passion, right? And you're able to bring your services down to zero sometimes because you want to gain traction. But two, the passion takes ahead of you. So I would say that's phase one. And then phase two is like, okay, I have to survive. I have to build, especially if you are relying full time on your business and stuff like that. But then the reality of money comes in. The reality of the money equation comes in. And so based on where your business is is at, or your journey into your business, the money takes the lead, right?
Mm,
The money takes the lead, the money drives. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But the third phase, and I'm getting into that, and yes, we talk about God, but I've always wondered, the third phase is when you go back, you put all the pieces together and put God back in the equation.
I agree.
That's where the maturity comes in. Because you normally see a lot of people who've made it in business will say, God did that. But they've gone through the different stages. And when you're able to go back through and come to the third phase, you realize, you know what? God and economics combined together. And realizing that God is in the mix. Because remember, in the second phase, the money was just driving it. I need to make X amount today. I got to pay my bills. You're in a survival mode, and listen. I need to get clients. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do that. The first phase was passion. Oh my goodness, I'm starting a business and this. But then in the third phase, maturity comes in, and you're able to put everything together
Mm.
and realizing that, you know what, God, you're leading. You're going to get my clients, but God, when God says to move, when God said to execute a plan, you have to execute it.
Mm-hmm. I
And
agree.
you hear a lot of people talk about manifestation and all that, but it's just a matter of saying of just using putting that energy, that, reconnecting back to the gifts God has given inside of you. Putting it back in the equation, and also becoming observant to the cues in your environment. The doors is opening, and following through and being obedient. That's what makes it successful. And it's been a journey.
I like that. I
It's
like
been
that.
a journey, but I think, and that will help you prosper,
Hmm.
because on the second stage, you're doing it within your own willpower.
So true. So
So that's my journey. That's where I am evolving into.
okay, good. Good. What about personally? How are you doing personally?
And personally, because it's my business, so personally, it's a reflection of that journey.
Okay. Good.
So I think each stage matches, because listen, I have no money, I'm doing all this, giving all this, and I'm like, but I think personally, I think there's a connection, and there's a tie into that too. But um personally, right now, for me, I am moving into a legacy phase, and I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, I'm in a totally different season in my life. I'm in a season where my kids are not coming back home. It hit me this
Oh,
time around. Yes, they're not coming back home. Look
I got a kindergarten and a third grader. They're coming back home at 3:30.
yes. Um, so it's a totally different phase. And now it's a season in my 50s. And now, what does the next 10 years of my life look like? So we're talking about legacy. My vision is to build my nonprofit so it could have legacy. So that's the stage where I am really looking at sustainability and making sure that it has all the legs and the arms. Also, too, as I look at my for profit, to be in a position where I can be light and I can do this anywhere.
Hmm.
So this is the season where I'm in now.
Wow. Do you think so growing up, what was money in your life growing up?
Growing up, oh, she has two tables. I'm sorry. Growing up, I wasn't worried about money.
Really? You had money?
No, I guess money was around me. There wasn't a need. I was blessed. I was blessed. And even now too, I am blessed, even despite the fact that, you know, whatever, I'm okay.
That's good.
So I guess I've been blessed. You know, I think my biggest struggle was when coming to America and living on my own,
Yeah.
and resetting
Okay, so let's
after
talk
my
about that. Let's
departure.
let's bring it to the
Yeah.
migration story. Tell me your migration story, like exactly how you got here and how was that transition for you?
So migration. So as I mentioned, I was blessed where I was. My grandmother had several kids, and in the islands, sometimes when you have several kids, sometimes you would send some of those kids to live with other people who are in a better position. And so my mother was one of those children that was sent to. God bless her soul. Well, she was sent to a woman who, what's the word? I would say affluent, but I guess maybe financially secured. She was a principal of a school. And at that time, I mean, she died in the 90s when I was still young. So, um, but that was the blessing. And the blessing was that we had a servant, we had a maid, and and she made sure that I was positioned in the right opportunities, right schools, and stuff like that. So that was a blessing. She was also an educator as well. And so upon graduation from high school, she said, "You're not going to stay in St. Lucia. I'm going to make sure that you are going to go away to continue your education." And she gave me a choice between England or America. And so, because my grandmother's um, my grandmother's family was in Connecticut, Hartford, I got the chance to really connect with them. So, the transition was no princesses live here.
They told the maids and the servants that you had back home doesn't exist in America, honey. No princesses.
Hey, it is what it
So what did that do for you? Tell me. You gotta tell me that moment when they were like, "Honey, you need to get off your pedestal and get down here and clean these floors." What happened?
I remember one night at midnight, my aunt worked us up. She worked the third shift, and it was my cousin and I who had to clean the bathrooms, and they were not done to her satisfaction.
Oh my goodness! And she woke up at midnight to come clean the
Yes,
bathrooms.
we'll clean up the bathrooms. We got to make sure the dishes were done. I mean, but it's all good. I mean, it's in retrospect, it has helped me become a better person, a better wife. It has prepared me for my husbands.
Husbands, okay. Is the
It is
next
what
one
it is.
coming? You need to let me know. I don't.
No,
Is this
this is life partner. Life
what
partner.
they say in show business? Is this an exclusive, Dr. Jackie?
I'll put a banner.
Okay.
Maybe he may be watching, so who knows?
Who
You know what?
knows? She is
You can,
available for marriage, y'all.
yay! You can be the person that connects us. Jesus, hallelujah.
Amen. Glory. So okay. So you came over. It's a total different life. You're not, life is not rosy and everything is not done for you anymore. You
But
got
it
to
was good.
become mature.
It was good. I mean, I had, and I guess I needed that part. I really needed that part. And as I look at life, I look at life as seasons. So definitely, I value that. I really value. I value each stage in my life. I value my aunt. I value, what she placed inside of me. So I mean, looking back, yes, it's funny, but it's something I totally valued. I resided with them for 1 year, I think, because I went to community college, and then after that, I transferred to. No, I did 2 years because I graduated from the community college, and then I transferred to a 4-year college in Springfield, and I got my. Oh, they actually put me out.
Why did they kick you out, Dr. Jackie? By the way, you're not the only one that does this. I am
It's a
honestly,
rite of passage. It's a rite of passage.
Dr. Jackie, I don't know what happens when people come to the US and when they migrate to foreign, because a lot of my friends, when they come here, it's like 2 weeks and they're looking at you like, okay, you need to go. You need to go. What's your plan? Do you have a job? Do you have an apartment? You need to go. Okay. I think in Jamaica, you live with families forever. You live with grandma forever till you die or till they die. But here is like, oh, we love you, but you gotta go. So, okay, you got kicked out. What happened?
Well, 1 second. So, long story short, so that was detrimental. But so I think it was all around a relationship. Interestingly enough, interestingly enough, I don't know. They considered that's how we're gonna put it.
You don't have to say it, Dr. Jackie. I don't think there's any way to curtail that. You got kicked out. Why? Just drop it.
I guess she told me not to go out at a certain time, and I went out at a certain
Oh,
time.
you're disobedient. You didn't obey the
And
rules.
then when I got back, the lady was standing by the gate at midnight waiting for me. And she said, "Girl, you're not coming back in this house."
Oh my gosh. Your heart must have dropped.
But I mean, when we look at how things fall into place, I'd already gotten my apartment because I was moving to Springfield. I went to American International College, so my place was ready, but it wasn't going to be ready until the fall, and it was summer. So one of my aunts put me in. So that was another transition. When you talk about transitions, that was another
Did you
transition.
learn your lesson, Dr. Jackie? What lesson did you learn from that experience?
Hmm. I really don't know. Because, interestingly enough, she really thought that I was out there doing stuff, and I wasn't. You, um, I think I don't know if they were conservative, but I was very open. I was very engaged in terms of my personality. I got involved in a lot of stuff. Um, and I don't know if they were accustomed to that type of lifestyle because I am who I am. I'm still. I mean, she's my aunt is very proud of who I've become and who I've evolved into. She's my biggest supporter. So, you know, it was a process. I did feel hurt about it, but I mean, her rules are her rules, and I have to respect it. And it's her house. And at the end of the day, I mean, I didn't come back at the time she wanted me to come back home, and I guess in her mindset at that time, she felt that I wasn't living up to her expectations.
I just wonder. I always tell parents when I see them kick out kids, I'm like, who are you kicking them out to? And where are you kicking
Hmm.
them to? And
I
what do
know.
you think is going to happen to that child if there's nothing out there? Like, what do you think is going to happen to your baby? It doesn't make any sense to
Yeah.
me. I don't care if he says I read a passage. It's just, to me, us islanders need to really think, like, who are you putting your
But
baby in the hands of? And what
but you know
danger?
what? Let's talk about the rite of passage. I think it's what happens is that we invite families and relatives into our spaces, but after a while, we have to really examine the psychological reason why people do that. After a while, I guess the burden becomes heavy because they're like, "You've done one of those clips. The light, too much. You wasting my electricity. You wasting this. You eating too much food." There is some
No,
psychology
a
behind this.
financial burden will increase, definitely will increase.
Yeah. So they're happy about you coming, and then you did it too. You said it so well. I think at the beginning you need to let them know the expectations, and I think sometimes the expectations are not said, and then the reality of the person is living in a fantasy world. It's one. The person who's transitioning is transitioning to, and it's a cultural shock. For me, even taking the bus down Albany Avenue looked like a I don't even know what it was then, So for the person to pick up and acclimate right away, sometimes it may take a longer time. So and sometimes they feel the person is not moving at a very fast rate.
Yeah. I hear all those things before. So tell me something about St. Lucia that most people don't know, that Dr. Jackie.
St. Lucia, so what's unique about St. Lucia is that we were seven times British, seven times French. So we have a combination of both cultures. Because of our location being in the middle of the archipelago of islands in the Caribbean, um, we were at a prime location for during the World Wars when I mean, not during the World Wars, but when they were coming to discover the islands, that they could look north or south.
Mm.
So we were called the Helen of the West, you know, and as the Helen, and that's why we had 14 wars. So seven times we were we were we were colonized by the French. So that's where our Creole culture comes in. And at the end, the English won, and that's where
The British are
the
coming.
so the British we finally got our independence from them
They
in
had us too,
1930.
Dr. Jackie. They had us too in Jamaica.
I know, but the number of wars and it's the uniqueness of having both cultures. I think really makes Saint Lucia,
Amazing.
very yeah. both cultures.
Amazing. Okay, so what saying or proverb is something I ask all my guests at the end of the show. What saying or proverbs that your family or someone used to teach you a lesson, provide guidance?
God will provide, I guess. I don't know.
Dr. Jackie, do you not listen to my show?
I'm
Show come
just,
prepare.
but, but, hey, so what's,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Jesus, help me.
That's one. That's one. I guess that's what your sons will say. Going forward.
Yeah, my kid's going to say
No,
that a
but
lot.
no. But listen though, let's go back to that. God will provide. When we look at a money mindset, that's deep.
Yes.
And interestingly now, let me tell you. I'm sorry, let's go back.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when we talk about money mindset, I've been doing a lot of work, and I said that to you the last time. A lot of work around money mindset, especially looking at men, looking at relationships, and now I can look at people's behaviors and see whether they're coming from a positive, a poverty mindset,
Mm.
the way they think, the thought processes, the way they make decisions. I'm able to see and make decisions, like, what, are you a conservative, are you a risk taker, are you a hoarder,
Hmm.
you know and really understand sometimes your behaviors, the reason why you do this is because of that. And so as you talk to them about their story, what is your money story, you're really able to tie it. But sometimes people don't even know their money story.
Yeah,
They just know exactly how were you raised,
true.
and then you decide.
Very true. I know a lot of people who don't know. It was like, what money? I never had any money. I'm like, well, trust me, it affected in some way.
And so for me too, as I talk about my money story, um, and that's something as I go through my resetting stages after divorce, I had to examine that. You know, I had to examine what is my money story, because in my relationships, I really became dependent on having the man lead regarding making all the financial decisions. So after the divorce, I had to then figure out, okay, Jacqueline, you need to be educated financially. You need to know exactly. Yes, I knew the concepts, but it was nothing. I put a lot of energy because you know what, I relied solely letting him, make those decisions. But I had to then really, in my pivots, really then feel, step in and really grasp it and become much financially wiser
Do you think that's
than I.
cultural? Why you just defer everything to him? Because in our culture, you see the man as the breadwinner, or the man took care of that, or it was just you. You know what? It was just easier. Why do you think that was? They just left anything as a default. He just took care of it.
I don't know if it's my money story, um but sometimes they still wanted me to have a voice,
Mm.
and I think I became very passive. And I think, I don't know if that frustrated my partner, but they still required me to have a, and that was good though. That in looking at it now, they still required me to have a voice. But I figured I was taking care of everything, so many other things. Why? But I think um maybe I should have had a better voice. Maybe, you know, I don't know. And so as I piece now my money story now, the question is, you asked a question about how my money story, so now is having those conversations with my kids. So therefore, it wouldn't just be like a blah or God will provide thing, you know, because we always hear that God will provide. So that means now there's a gap.
Yeah. So how are you going to change that
There's
going
a gap.
forward in the next relationship? How are you going to make sure that you don't default to what was?
So I'm moving into legacy stage right now,
Yes.
legacy building. And so whoever comes to the table, I'm looking for partnership. And so as we talk about partnership, is that you bring your table, I bring my table. We both have our tables.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. And then we
Yeah.
see what needs to go in the garbage, what we keep.
No, well, yes, no, but at this stage, we, there may be a building, but the building may be building on top of it
Mm-hmm.
to maybe do something together, whether it's business or expansion or something. But anybody comes in my life, I magnify their lives 10 times.
There you go,
That's
Dr. Jackie. Boom, put an eHarmony description.
and so therefore, I'm he has to also come in, to give me that covering and all of that stuff. But I
Absolutely
have
agree.
that power to do that.
Absolutely agree. Dr. Jackie, thank you so much. This was a great, great conversation. I'm so happy you're able to bless us with your presence again.
But you know what? There's a, you know what though? Even though this is the third try, I think this is a totally different conversation. What are your thoughts about that?
Yes, I totally agree. I
Tell
told
me
you,
your thoughts about this
God know what He was
conversation.
doing. I feel like I've matured. I've learned a lot in doing it, and I'm just growing with every episode. And I thought the question was more thought provoking, and I thought it was a deeper conversation we had than when I first started. When I first started, it was like when it's something out the water, they call it.
No, but also too in terms of my conversation with you
Oh yes.
and my money journey.
It was more revealing, Dr. Jackie. Very revealing. I appreciate it. You go a little deeper here
I
with
know I
me.
went deep everywhere now. You know what? If I'm able to help people move, I have to be transparent.
Exactly.
So
Thank you so
that's
much.
where I am right now. So listen, I'm here. Keep up the good work and just keep on soaring.
Thank you, Dr. Jackie. Well, you hear it here. Where can they find you, Dr. Jackie? Where can they find you?
Yes, so you can connect me on Instagram or on Facebook at Dr. Jackie Evans Phillips.
Exactly. And you're on tell you what, your website as well.
At Dr. Jackie Evans Phillips.com.
There you go. So everyone, be sure to connect with Dr. Jackie if you need that life change or you just need to get past certain traumas. She is absolutely amazing, as you can tell from our conversation, very open and real. So until next time, remember, keep your money irate.
I love that.